decided that he didn't want to do that. So when I was 3 years old, we moved to Lampasas. And when we would go to see my grandmother in Coleman, my mother was probably one of the first women in Texas that we had a two-family car. Two-car family. My mother always had her car. And we would sit, my mother would drive. My mother was an excellent driver. She would drive, and Choc would sit on the right. He was the oldest, and Dyke would sit in front of me, and I would stand up the whole way. And we all wanted to be together. And Mother always said that she wanted to go to Coleman to see my grandmother, but I think to wash, because we didn't have a washroom. And I think she really wanted to go to Coleman. And then when we moved to Lampasas, we lived up by the hospital in a little house, and it had a cistern. Now, if you know what a cistern is, it was in the porch, and it's about that big around. My mother knew I was going to fall in. I didn't. We moved to East Lampasas, and there's where we just saw the most beautiful woman, young woman that you've ever seen, and that was Marie. And Marie lived with her grandmother, and actually our property kind of joined. Theirs came this way, and theirs came that way. And so when I was 11 years old, well, Choc and Marie announced that they were married. And I'd never had a sister, and I've had a sister for a long time, and it's been one of the best sisters I've ever had. And they have so beautifully shared their family with us. I think that's the most beautiful part, that they shared Alicia and Anita and Sherry with us, and we had a long time before we got our Suzanne, and so they were so wonderful to let us love these children. And I guess maybe a little more especially Alicia, because David was in the service, and we would pick her up and take her everywhere with us. But anyway, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
He said the cars were Rios.
The first car in Coleman County, and it was a Rio. And Mother said the man took her out, drove around the block with her, and said, "There's your car." And my granddaddy was a cripple, and so my mother did all the driving for him on the ranch. They had a really big ranch, and so she did all the driving for him, because the family either lived in Albany or Coleman, so that the kids could be educated. There was 12 of them. So that was.
And I was a janitor to the Presbyterian Church.
One other, I've got a jillion stories, but I will hush after this one. When Lampasas had the flood in 1936, Choc had never, in years, he has a Sunday school pen almost that long. He had not missed Sunday school. So it was Sunday, we got to get to Sunday school. He and I walked from the gym to the Presbyterian Church in water to our knees across the square. He opened the book. We checked our names, and he prayed, and we left. And
That's good.
Mark, you ready, Mark?
Sure.